Welcome to section 3.2 of financial algebra. This section is called Reconcile a bank statement. So we're going to talk about a couple different things as they pertain to your bank account, and more specifically things that are on or not on your bank statement and how to make sure that you balance at the end. So let's start off with the vocabulary section. The first vocabulary word we have is account number. Now your account number will appear on all checks, deposit slip statements, both electronic and paper, to identify who it belongs to. So this is basically giving a name, but in numerical form, to each one of those checks, so they know exactly who it belongs to. Like you might have multiple accounts at a bank, and the account number will be specific to where they're going to pull the money from, that particular account, or what account they're reporting on a particular statement. The next vocabulary word is a bank statement. Now this is a record of all transactions that have occurred during a period of time, normally a month. So on that bank statement, you're going to have debits, you're going to have credits. In other words, you're going to have deposits, you're going to have withdrawals, you're going to have fees. Everything that happened in or out of your bank account during that specific time is going to be recorded on your bank statement. Now that specific time may vary, which brings us to our next vocabulary word, which is a statement period. Now the statement period might not be the exact month. It might go from August 10th to July 10th. So it's not really the month of August. It has a little bit of August, it has a little bit of July in that statement period, but it just depends on what statement period your bank is using. But whatever happens during that statement period is what's going to show up on the bank statement itself. The next vocabulary word we have is a combination of starting and ending balances. Now this is the amount of money in an account at the beginning and at the end of the statement period. So at the beginning of the statement period, it shows a balance that was the ending balance of the previous statement, but is now the beginning balance of your current statement. And then after you have all kinds of money going in and all kinds of money going out, whatever happens at the end, that is your ending balance. And that ending balance for this statement will be the starting balance of the next statement. Now, in your bank statement, you might not see some deposits or some checks. So let's talk about our next vocabulary word. This is outstanding deposits. Now these are deposits that did not make it onto the bank statement's time period, but have made it into the account. So let's say, for example, your statement ends on August 31st, right? The end of the month. If your statement period ends on August 31st, you went to the bank and deposited a check on August 31st. It may not post to that account until July 1st, but the statement period ends. So when you get your bank statement in the mail, or when you're looking at it online, it's not going to show that deposit because it didn't make it during that cutoff period, but it will show up, but it is posted on your account. So we need to take some of these things into account when we start balancing and reconciling. So the other outstanding is our next vocabulary word. This is an outstanding check. And this kind of works the same way. Checks that have been written but not cashed or cleared during the bank statement period. So sometimes I write a check to a client or a customer, and I send out the check and I give it to them, but it sits in their wallet for a week or 2 weeks or so. They may not have gone to the bank to cash that check. And by the time they do, maybe your bank statement period again closes out. So you have a check written, you have it accounted for in your bank register that you paid this out. It's just not going to show up in your bank statement because the customer hasn't cashed it, so it hasn't cleared your account within your statement period. Next we have balancing. That's our next vocabulary word, balancing. And this is a verification process to make sure that all the transactions have been accounted for, whether we're balancing your check register, whether we're balancing your bank statement. At the very end, we need to have everything accounted for, all deposits and all withdrawals accounted for. Even if they're outstanding deposits or outstanding checks, they're still part of our balancing process. And then the last word we have is reconciling. And this is a verification process that compares your check register to your bank statement to ensure you balance. In other words, your check register is when you're logging down all the transactions that happen, but the bank might have only the transactions that cleared the account. So we need to make sure that everything matches. You don't want to have, maybe you entered a payment twice on your register and you want to make sure you clear that out so you know that you have extra money. Or the other way, maybe a bank charged you twice, or you wrote somebody processed your payment 2 times, and you're not going to verify that that happened until you sit down and reconcile your bank statement and make sure that everything balances. So it's a process of going through and just checking your register compared to your bank statement, checking your outstanding deposits and your outstanding checks, and then making sure that you balance at the end. Alright, we're going to take a look at checking for understanding example number 1. Now I know this one's going to look a little scary because we got a lot of information here. We got a check register, which is a log of all the transactions you have, and then we have a bank statement right below that. So we're going to make a comparison here. We're going to check to see what's going on with the check register. We're going to make sure that the bank has accounted for all the transactions. And if you notice, right next to the payment column, there's a couple check marks, and not every single box has a check mark. The reason for that is the check mark means that you've already verified that that transaction has been posted on a previous bank statement. So we're assuming that the check marks that are on your check register right now, the one that we're looking at, means that in the previous bank statement, we've already accounted for those transactions, so we don't need to worry about those. Those have already been reconciled. But we're going to sit down and we're going to look at the bank statement here, and we're going to reconcile the transactions that are on the bank statement and put a check mark next to the same transaction that's on our check register. So the very first transaction I see here is on 11/5. There was a deposit for $35. So if I scroll down the list here of all these transactions, I'm going to notice that down towards the bottom on 11/5, there's the deposit for $35. So on that little check box, I'm going to put a little check mark there, and then that's good to go. And I also like to put a little check mark on the bank statement, so I know that I've already completed that. Or you can put a little line through the $35 so that you know that you've already completed that that entry into your check register. So the next one is a deposit on 11/11 on November 11th for $100. So I scroll down a little bit, and there's the deposit for $100 in my check register. That one gets a little check mark, and I cross it off my statement. And then I have it looks like a check number written on, well, it was cashed on November 13th, and it's check number 1770. So I look at my check numbers on the left hand side. Those are all the checks that I've written, and I see 1770. And I want you to notice something. It's in my check register on October 22nd is when I wrote the check. It didn't clear the bank till November 13th. So now that just goes to show you that even though I've accounted for it in my check register, it means that I've accounted for it means that I know that the money is gone. So this $425 that you're looking at here on October 22nd, that's how much money I had available to me. If I would have looked online on my bank, it would have showed me an extra $158 because the bank doesn't know that I wrote the check. So, alright, back to our check register on 11/13 for $158.08. That one's right there. We're going to check it off and cross it off on our statement. And then we wrote check number 1768 and 1768 for $46.50. So that one gets a little check mark. We cross that one off our statement. And then we have another check, 1769. There's 1769 with $74.64. There it is. So we check that one off and cross it off our statement. And our last transaction is 1765 for $19.50. And we're good to go. Those are all the transactions that are on the bank statement. Now, notice that you still have some that are unchecked. These are either outstanding deposits or outstanding withdrawals, or in other words, these are transactions that you made. They just haven't been they haven't cleared your account yet. So you know you've made these payments, so we need to account for them. So when we do our reconciling, we start off with our ending balance from the previous month, and if you our ending balance that we have right now at the end of the statement. So if we look at our bank statement, we have a starting balance at the top, and then we have an ending balance at the bottom. Our ending balance is $628.23. So we go ahead and write the $628.23. That's our starting balance. And then from there, we're going to add in any outstanding deposits. So we need to list our outstanding deposits. So if I go back to my check register, I'm looking just in the deposit section, and I notice that I have one deposit for $125 still outstanding. So I'm going to add in this $125 to that ending balance, because I have to add that back in, right? The bank is showing that I have less than what I actually do at this point. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to subtract out my total outstanding withdrawals. So if I look in the withdrawal column, I'm looking for the items that do not have a check mark. So I see that there's a $50 item. I'm going to write that down, $50. I see that there is an $18 transaction, so I write down the $18. I see that there's a $29.10 transaction, write down the $29.10. And I see that there's a $15 transaction that hasn't hit my bank yet. So when you add up the 50, the 18, the 29, and the 15, that's $112 in outstanding withdrawals. This is money that you have already written off as either checks or some sort of transaction that's not counted for yet. It hasn't cleared your bank. So we have 628, 23 in our starting balance. We add in our deposits that are outstanding. We subtract out our outstanding withdrawals, and that's going to give us $641.14. That is our revised statement balance. We're revising our statement that ended. The ending balance was 628, but we're revising it because we're taking into account things that were still outstanding, both positive outstanding and negative outstanding. And now if we look at our check register should match that same thing. Oops, I did the math wrong. It should be $641.13. So $641.13 is my revised statement balance. And if I look at my check register, my numbers, notice that you have the same $641.13 at the end. And now I know that I'm balanced, right? Both numbers are the same. I balance out. That is how you reconcile your bank statement. Alright, example number 2. In example number 2, it says use algebraic formulas and statements to model the check register using the balancing process. So I'm going to just take a look at the very end what I did here. I had my ending balance, and I'm going to label that as A. And then I have my total outstanding deposits, and then I'm going to label that as B. And then I have my total outstanding withdrawals. I'm going to label that as C. I'm going to take my revised balance, and I'm going to label that D, and then I'm going to have my check register, which is at the end, and I'm going to label that R. And so what I want to do is I want to make sure that D is equal to R, right? At the very end, that's how I know I balance. If the value of D equals R, that's how I know I'm going to balance. And how do I get to D? Well, what I did was I started with my ending balance, which was A, and then from there I added in the deposits, which was B, and then I subtracted out the withdrawals, which is C. So I have A plus B minus C, and that should give me the total of D. And when I have that, that should equal R. So D is equal to A plus B minus C is the algebraic expression that we can use to represent what we did to balance the checkbook. Alright, for example number 3, Amelia and Liam have a joint checking account. They have a balance of $3,839.29 in the check register. The balance of the bank statement is $3,450.10. Not reported on the statement are deposits of $2,000, $135.67, $254.77, and $188.76, and 4 checks for $567.89, $23.83, $598.33, and $1,000. Reconcile the bank statement using a spreadsheet. So here we're going to create the spreadsheet one step at a time. So in let's go to see, the way you read a spreadsheet is on the left hand side you have numbers going down as rows, and on the top you have columns labeled in letters. So let's go to A2, and I want you to type in the word outstanding deposits. Alright, so we'll type in outstanding deposits, and then in B2 we're going to write outstanding checks. And what we're going to do is go through the scenario and write down each of these different values. Okay, so in B3 we're going to write down the $2,000 in the statement. If we reread the question, it says not reported on the statement are deposits of. So this is the outstanding deposits. The first one was $2,000. So go ahead and type in 2,000. The next one was $135.67. The next one was $254.77. and then the next one was $188.76. Now if you notice on your spreadsheet, those don't look like dollar signs. So if you go up to the letter A at the top and you click on the letter A, it'll highlight the entire column, and at the very top there's a little dollar sign menu under the numbers. Go ahead and click that one time and you're going to see it's going to convert all those to dollars. It makes it a little bit easier to see. Okay, now let's go to section B, which is the outstanding checks. So then it tells us that not reported on the statement were the deposits, and then it says it had 4 checks. So let's write these check numbers down under outstanding deposits. So we're going to start in cell B3, and we're going to write check number $567.89, not number for dollar amount, that's what I meant to say. The next check is going to be $23.83. The next check is $598.33, and the last check is $1,000. Okay, so we've basically written a list of different dollar amounts down that column. So I want you to go down to A10, to cell A10, and then what I want you to do is type in the following. I want you to put equals the word sum, that's S-U-N, and then I want you to open parentheses, and I want you to type A3, which is the first $2,000 cell, A3, and then I want you to put semicolon A9. So we're going to add up all the cells from A3 to A9 is what we're asking the system to do. Okay, I just told you to do it the long way. And so what you should get on cell A10 is $2,579.20. And what we asked the spreadsheet to do is to add up all the cells from 3 to 9 in row A, in column A. Now I'm going to show you the shortcut way. In column B10, I want you to go up to the menu up top, and all the way on the right hand side there's a section called editing. There's a little summation symbol. It looks kind of like a backwards E. So click on the summation symbol and it'll automatically pop up the sum, and you can highlight the field. Click on field B3, hold the left click button and scroll all the way down so you highlight fields B3 through B9 and then hit enter. And you're going to see that on cell A10 you should have $2,190.50. So on cell C10 I want you to write the word total. Those are the totals for our outstanding deposits and our outstanding checks. Next in cell A12 I want you to write check register balance. Check register balance. And the check register balance was what they gave us in the word problem. They said they have a balance, Mila and Liam had a balance of $3,839.25. So go ahead and just write that dollar amount right there, $3,839.25. And if the little dollar signs doesn't come out, go ahead and highlight the C column and go ahead and go up to the number section and click on the dollar sign. It should turn the whole thing into dollars. Then in cell A13 I want you to write statement ending balance, the words statement ending balance. And the statement ending balance was also given to us in the problem. It says the bank balance and the bank statement was the balance on the bank statement was $3,450.10. So go ahead and type that in there. Now on A14 I want you to write revised statement balance. Revised statement balance. And this is where we're going to take in our check register, our starting balance, and we're going to add in the outstanding deposits and subtract out the outstanding withdrawals or the outstanding checks. So while you're highlighted on cell C14, I want you to type equals, and then you're going to take your mouse and you're going to click on C13, which is the statement ending balance, because we always start with the statement ending balance. So you click on C13 and you're going to see it highlight, and then you're going to hold shift equals on your keyboard to add in a plus sign, and then you're going to take your mouse and you're going to go over to A10 and you're going to click on that one. You're going to see it turn a color also. and then you're going to hit the minus sign. It's between the plus sign and the 0 on your keyboard. Hit the minus sign to subtract, and then go over to cell B10 with your mouse and click on that one. And now and then hit enter. And what you've just told the spreadsheet to do is you said, take my ending balance, add in my deposits, subtract out my checks, and then when I hit enter, you should get $38.39.25. Now, the nice thing about the system is if you add in any value, if you go to cell A8 and you add in $20, it'll automatically adjust the totals for you, which is nice. Okay, so that's how you know you've done it right. Now, the last thing I want you to do is an if statement. Now, this one's a little tough, okay, so follow along with me. So in cell A, the letter A, 16, so cell A16, I want you to go to the formula bar and I want you to type in, on that frame, I want you to type in equals, and then the letter I and the letter F. So equals if. I want you to open up the parentheses, and then I want you to type in C12 equals C14. So C12 is our register balance, and it should equal C14, which is our revised statement balance. So we're taking what we did in our previous problem. This is our checkbook balance, and we're making it equal our revised balance. Okay, so you typed in equals if, open parentheses, C12 equals C14, comma, and then I want you to put quotation marks, so open quotation marks, statement is reconciled, close quotation marks, comma, open quotation marks, statement is not reconciled, close quotation marks, and then close the parentheses. What we're asking the spreadsheet to do here is to say if these two amounts, if C12 is equal to C14, then this field will read statement is reconciled. If those are not equal values, then it will read statement is not reconciled. So if you go over to your cell A8 and type in $20, for example, you're going to see that that in the field A16 it changes to statement is not reconciled. But if I remove the $20 and my two frames balance, my check register and my revised statement balance, then the statement is reconciled. So that's pretty much the end of this section. I know that was a little heavy with the spreadsheet, but trust me, you will be using spreadsheets more than you like to as you develop your future careers. So make sure you give it a whirl, give it a shot. Don't just copy and paste. Try to create this, learn a little something so you add a different skill to your arsenal, and when you go out and apply for a job, you have Excel skills. Alright, make sure you guys follow us on Facebook at CS First, or go to our website www.csfirst.com for any and other financial algebra classes.